So, what a crazy week it has been in gaming. And I got to tell you, things are getting like really weird. The economy sucks right now. The markets suck. These tariffs are really putting a hurt on everything, right? But when it comes to gaming, man, it's like right now, I'm seeing like the bottom of the barrel of what AAA has become. And remember, AAA only started as a marketing term by the big console makers in order to sell their premium IP franchises to the masses, right? That's how we would get AAA gaming, and then it evolved from there. So I've always said that consoles are only worth their exclusives, and the reason why I'm talking about that is because right now, Sony just released a sit-down, one-on-one developer interview back, behind the scenes, exclusive access only on PlayStation, right? With Halo Studios and some of the devs, and you can tell that this was like totally scripted. You can tell by the lighting, by the sheer lighting, editing, and the camera work of the little set, the 3-on-1, the guy asking all the questions with the lead devs. And I gotta tell you, you can see in their faces from the developers that they really love the game. They love the history of Halo, but it's a sad day for Halo because it officially died today as an Xbox exclusive, and Xbox as a platform it's just over. I've been saying this for years, and I remember saying this way back when I had the Spawn Trap podcast channel and the fumble that was, remember the Xbox One, whatever it's called, I don't even know, because the last Xbox I've owned was the Xbox 360, and I've owned I think 3 or 4 of them because I went through 2 Red Ring of Deaths. Then I went through another one, and I think I sold it and regretted it like about, like less than a year later, because there were some other games that I wanted to play when exclusives were truly exclusives during the years of the Xbox 360. And then I got, remember the black one, the black slim one was awesome, dude. And eventually I sold it, and I still kept my fat 80 gig original 2005 PS3, which I still have connected. I've mentioned this several times in my videos. But when it comes to gaming, I gotta tell you, gamers as a consumer block and consumer base, I'm sorry to say this and feel free to downvote the video, are some of the dumbest motherfuckers ever, dude. I've ever seen in my life when it comes to like consumer rights, like knowing what your dollar is worth, and you have to understand that most of these nerds, they follow these content creators who they have no idea that they're being, they're pretty much bought and paid for. Not necessarily bought and paid for, but they're out to get their bag too. Like look at Tim the Tatman. It's reported, and actually in certain circles of Battlefield circles, that EA paid him $300,000 to promote Battlefield 6. And bro, fucking congratulations, bro. Get your bag, dude. Right? But then people see this, his followers see this. He doesn't have to fucking disclose anything unless it becomes news. And yeah, there is that disclosure when it comes to the relationship between the viewer and the content creator. And he manages his channel and his business empire because the guy is a fucking multi-millionaire by now, right? He's worth like more than $10 million. This is how much money these people are making. Right? But it's business, dude. But the fact that these followers, your subscribers, your viewers, they don't fucking know better. And especially like people that, are on the come up, want to do the same thing that they do. And they turn their blind eye to the obvious that, look, man, it's just fucking marketing and promoting by these big fucking multi-billion-dollar firms like EA, and $300,000 for EA is a drop in a fucking bucket. It's nothing, right? But you see the numbers. Today marks the second week of the release of Battlefield 6. It was released on October 10th to a staggering 747,440 players online, and which is amazing for a Battlefield game, right? But then this morning, that shit dropped to like 120,000. This morning. And when I typed a comment on some random Battlefield 6 video, I'm like, yo, it lost 70% of his player base. And bro, I'm fucking getting attacked. I'm taking like shanks from all sides, right? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, these are numbers, bro. This one dude is like, I can't believe the lies that you spew on here. It's wild. Like, and they never expect for you to return and say, yo, wild? You want to talk about fucking wild? Check this out. 747,440 players at its peak during launch day. And as of this typing, it went down to 276,000 players. You're talking about a 68, 69% drop-off rate. And so, like, it's all marketing. marketing, dude. Like when you see such a huge discrepancy in numbers, I'm not saying that Battlefield 6 isn't a great game. It surely is. It's just that when you see like a huge influx of like numbers and then a massive drop off rate, imagine if that was a stock. Imagine if that was a crypto. In just 2 weeks, it goes from $747 down to $276. I mean, that's a fucking massive sell off. Right. And what we're seeing is that most of that pump, not fake players, I mean, these are real players, but most of that pump is just marketing, dude, marketing hype. And most of those players came from the Call of Duty world because Call of Duty's all fucking dry. They're waiting for Black Ops 7 to come out. And so they're making content. Everybody's trying to get their bag. And that's what we're living in now. Gaming has become like this weird, like marketplace of just money and followers and like e-fame, and everybody's trying to make it. Nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to have a 9 to 5. I don't blame them. 9 to 5 fucking sucks. You know, imagine 9 to 5, 18 to 65 years, and then you retire. Social Security is not going to be there by the time you retire, right? So everybody's trying to make their money now, especially by 2030. Like I said in previous videos, that by 2030, there's going to be a predicted 10 to 15 permanent % of unemployment worldwide because most clerical jobs are going to be replaced and automated by AI. This is a fact. This is the World Economic Forum and several other think tanks worldwide who are making these predictions for the past 3 to 5 years. So that's where we're at with that, with Battlefield 6. And then we have this like dog shit game, Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 2, with the cringiest. If you're subbed to Nick Tech, which I am, he makes these great meme videos, right? And you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you've seen a lot of his videos, and his channel actually went viral during Mind's Eye, and that was a godforsaken game that came out. You guys already know. I also made several meme videos of that because it's just trash, dude. Like, gaming has become trash. But when you see like the dialogue of this game in this game, oh my God, bro. It's just so bad. It's so cringy. It's like, is this the best that we can do? Is this 2025, bro? Is this gaming in 2025? This is what, it's become. And then we have an indie darling, Escape from Duckov, a $15 Unity engine game that takes its name kind of like a troll, kind of like a meme, like from Escape from Tarkov. And it's the same concept, but it's a top-down view, kind of, kitty lookalike, kitty play style, but it's PvE. And bro, you're talking about 260,000 players online, dude. And it's crazy because you're realizing, and I go back to the beginning of the video, that the term AAA has completely lost its meaning. It's like over, dude. It's over. It doesn't mean anything anymore because there is no console war. There's no more Xbox. I was going to say 360 because in my eyes, the Xbox 360 was peak Xbox. And then you had the Xbox One and the utter failure that was. Remember when that, I forget the name of the CEO during that time. I probably put in an image, a picture of his face. And they were all about pushing this whole TV, this whole streaming platform for entertainment and sports and movies. And people were like, well, what about the game? And that to me was the beginning of the end for the Xbox platform. And it took, listen to this, it took like 10 years for us to get here to the end of 2025 almost. We're at the end of almost October of 2025. And now we have Halo Combat Evolved on Unreal Engine 5, which actually looks good, by the way, okay? I'm actually looking forward to play it. I hope they don't charge a fucking arm and a leg for this game, but it's on the PlayStation 5. And I'm like, holy shit, when you go on YouTube and you look at all these videos of like legendary times and legendary midnight releases, especially for Halo 3. I think Halo 3 had the biggest turnout in Times Square. I mean, it was like multi-city releases simultaneously. We're live in Times Square. We're live in LA. We're live here. And it's like, bro, that was a time when like exclusives, but Halo fucking ruled the world, dude. And now we're seeing Halo. We're seeing Halo on the PlayStation, dude, 25 years later. Oh my God, bro. Like, Halo is on your competitor's platform. Like, and some might argue,
Well, it's better if you just release it for the masses so everybody has a chance to.
shut the fuck up, dude. I mean, we're talking about the death of a fucking franchise, the death of a platform here, and nobody's like batting an eye. And then you'll have like these retard Xbots who are like, oh my god, like they never get down to the crux of the problem, and that is that Microsoft was never a hardware company, brother. It was always a software company. Bill Gates hated, till this day he still hates, and he always hated, he always will hate gaming. He never wanted to get into gaming. He was forced into this business by his engineers, by the rest of his board of directors, and they're like, yo, Bill, we got to get into gaming, bro, because this is the future. This is the future of entertainment. It's going to be bigger than movies. It's going to be bigger than music. It's going to be bigger than anything. And sure enough, a couple years later, 2013, we have the release of Grand Theft Auto 5, the biggest entertainment release of all time, $834 million in the first, what is it? It was like 48 hours, and then it cleared $1 billion by the end of the week. I just go, what the fuck are we talking about here, dude? Do you understand? So this is the biggest media of all time. And the whole time I'm watching the presentation for the whole Halo on the PS5, I'm waiting for multiplayer announcement, multiplayer news, and none of that. You could tell. And even some of the questions and answers were totally scripted, because I know when I see something that's scripted, trust me when I tell you this, I was in show business for almost 25 years. I no longer do that. So I know when I see and hear a script. You can tell by even the faces, especially if people on camera aren't actors. There's so many giveaway telltale signs that they were like rehearsing those lines, right? And then we had a report earlier this week about how in just the last 2 years, 1,200 game journalists have completely left the industry, disappeared, never to come back again. And most of those people were just like these activist journalists who thought that they can come in, Gamergate 2.0, they can come in and then they can push their agenda. And this is why, gaming is so shit now. So it's like, the calm before the storm is over. Like, we weathered that storm and now we're moving forward, and the industry is actually purging. It's purging of developers, purging of studios, purging of exclusivity. I believe it was, I forget what her name is. She's also the head of Xbox that's going to be taking over Phil Spencer. I always forget. Is it Sarah Bond? I hope I'm not butchering her name, but like she was quoted this week saying that, oh yeah, exclusives no longer matter. Exclusives are no longer like the DNA of Xbox. And I'm like, bro, fucking straight from the horse's mouth. You're just admitting that Xbox is not what it once was. So I'm kind of excited that, even though I played it, I was never an original Xbox owner. I was always a PlayStation fanboy, right? Even though I did have the Xbox 360, and that was my last Xbox, like I mentioned earlier. But like years later, when everything started coming out on PC through the Master Chief Collection, that's when I went through all of the Halos, the Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Everything that came in that package, extremely entertaining. And I was never there. I was there physically, but I was always at my friend's house who did have an Xbox, and I did watch him play the original Halo, but that was like very small microdoses of an experience. But I never really sat down and played it myself through that time, which is always like very special to me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to convey. And so it was only years later when I went through it and I said, you know what, the hell with it. I just have to experience this. And I said to myself, man, I can only imagine how it really was back in the day when, like, the early days of multiplayer, the early days of Xbox Live. You remember that? And that was just a magical time, even with Gears of War and Forza and like other exclusives. But like, this is the death of the Xbox. This is the death of exclusivity. From here on out, I don't know where gaming is going. It's just like AAA doesn't mean anything anymore. Indies are taken over because the name of AAA and like B tier, C tier, indie tier, everything is just becoming so gray. So like, words don't mean anything anymore. It's just the cream will always rise to the top. Look at Expedition 33. I mean, these are former Ubisoft developers who were sick and tired of the bullshit and left and started their own studio. The same thing with Embark Studio. I don't know how good, I'm forgetting the name of the game, Arc Raiders is going to be, but these were like the core founders of not only the Battlefield franchise, but from DICE, dude. You have to understand this. When you have the core founders and the main decision makers and the ideology of what was Battlefield, of what was like the heritage of DICE, right, to pick up and fucking leave because they were just sick and tired of EA's bullshit, only to go their separate ways, and they went this way, started Embark Studios. The rest of the founding members of DICE went the other way and started another game, which actually they do still have a website. I forget the name of their company though, and they're working on a military shooter, which is still not announced. Nothing is actually concrete, but when you go to their website, they actually say what they're working on, right? And so like gaming is just taking this radical turn into fucking Weirdville, dude. I just don't understand where it's going. But you know, I'm here. I actually re-downloaded Deadlock, and you have to understand that Deadlock now is being developed by none other than IceFrog. And if you know IceFrog, he's a fucking main developer for Dota 2. And so word is that, you know, IceFrog has stepped down as the main head of development over at Dota. They just moved him down the hall and said, look, man, we want you to do what you did for Dota and do for Deadlock. And like about a month or two ago, they went through a massive artistic overhaul. The game looks absolutely awesome right now for what it is. And you know, it's going to be a free to play game, but like they totally changed the entire way that game works. And I re-downloaded it the other day and I said to myself, you know what, let me give this game a second chance. And fucking so far so good, dude. It looks really good. It plays really well. It's tight, really tight controls. They kind of like fix the bugginess and the animation when you grapple on those like zip lines and shit, and it plays really well now. So, and believe it or not, it's still invite only, and they're clocking 40,000 players concurrently every day, dude. And so I'm really excited. And by the way, he's going by a different name. He's going by Yoshi with the Yoshi icon in his username. But people are kind of figuring it out and saying, no, dude, this is fucking IceFrog. And also remember, IceFrog is still very much involved with the constant update and the rebalancing and balancing of Dota 2. I mean, he's like the main guy, but he kind of like offset most of his responsibilities to people that he trusts. And he is like going full force now with Deadlock. So guys, if you're on my friends list on Steam, let me know. I'll give you an invite. I don't know how that works. I think I can. I don't know how that works, but give the game a try. It's actually really, really good now. It's really tight, and it's going to be a very solid multiplayer game when it releases and when it comes out of beta and goes into open beta, and hopefully it gets a major release. But dudes, I just wanted to share my opinions with you guys and my thoughts about where gaming is and where it isn't. We did shed a lot of like negativity with these like piece of shit, dog shit, game journalists that don't belong in the game. They never did belong in the game. And by the way, there is reports now that these major outlets, news outlets, are starting to use AI, dude. And it's like, I fucking laugh at this because it's like good fucking riddance, dude. Good riddance. All right, guys, a little recap of what the week in gaming was, trying to get some shit off my chest. But if you liked the video, make sure you rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. That's right.